Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine. The time to say yes to your dreams and aspirations is here.
Now, the book that actually caught my attention the most is this one that I'm holding here. And that's talking about fame, untold stories of its rise and fall, which is like your memoir. Why did you choose, to write about all your experiences? Let me put it that way, in fame. Why did you choose to funnel everything into a book?
Why should I not? People have to learn. There are a lot of things that happen in film. Film was a generational statement. It was epochal for its period. It was unheard of, was undone, and all that at that level and at that genre of journalism. So it was, for 6 years, it was like roller coaster, and then it went down. If it wouldn't have done so, it could have saved it. It could have sustained it. Imagine if you have came then until now, it would be a colossal, So I wanted people to learn. You see a lot of things that I saw. I subtitled it unforgettable lessons and intrigue, because there's so much to learn. I was chatting with Ruben a couple of days before, and he was shocked that the quality and the content of the call capacity of the story, that's what they call it. Wow, it was so interesting, it was so this and that and that and that. And, I said, did Ruben just realize that I could write a bit more, because there are lessons that we failed in certain areas. We don't have to fail in that area 20 years after. We mismanaged our opportunity for greatness. You don't have to years after. This is what happened at this period in time. This is what we did, and this is how we survived. Oh, you can, like for instance, I was talking to one of my friends. He's very shy. I won't want to mention his name. And he said, I want for all my children who are going to succeed me in business. I want them to learn that he has looked up to me for quite a long time, but he didn't know what happened then. Now that I have the occasion to show and express in over 350 pages of what happened then, he would like his children to go through. Which is the essence of the whole thing. That the legacy that was ruined by greed, by high-handedness, by lack of vision, by foolishness, by exuberance or youthful exuberance, whatever the case is. I have a bird's view now of siphoning through these different caucuses of ideas and all that, and bring out lessons the younger ones, even the older ones that once contemporaries can learn from, can imbibe, can run away from. So essentially, that's what drove that idea to put all that I believe happened in film down into print.
All right. Now I've also started reading the book, and I must confess that all the chapters that I've read so far, I've really enjoyed them. But like we say in Nigeria, you mentioned names, you called names. What happens in the event that some of these people who are still alive and who were active participants, at the time all the things you chronicled happened, should decide to come out to contradict or controvert, some of the things you said there? How would you feel? And have you also given that a thought?
It's normal when you write. I mean, we've been reporting. You joined us in '93, I think. You've been reporting for a long time, fairly long time. And even when you witness the occasion, even when you have authentic confirmation and verification, it's still a story that others can also rebut or find another angle to. So there are always views. I mean, it's like even in the Bible, we all see in parts and we prophesy in parts. Even the greatest of prophets, they only see the portion that God shows them. So the portion that life showed me, I've recorded it, right? And I was a living participant. And if it runs contrary to your own view, write your own, state your own. It doesn't affect or afflict my own memory is quite clear. This is what I remember, and this is how I look at it. My wife is always saying, "Why do you need to write this? Do you need to write this?" I said, "See, it's called memoir. You don't write out of fear so that somebody will feel bad and somebody will feel no that we are friends today or that we are not friends today doesn't matter to the fact of you lived a life together. Now what I'm doing is I'm recollecting that life as it happened, not as it ought to happen. Now I'm recollecting it as it happened, and this is my reflections on them. Now, when these things happened, I was between 29 and 31 or 35 or thereabouts. Now I'm 60. I wrote these things while I was 59. So I don't owe the bills. I have the sense to remove what is snipes and what is dross and what's all that and what's needless. So what I feel is important, I include it because it is my memory of what happened. Now, A could come up and say, no, this memory is wrong. This is good. If I have sufficient indignation around it, I will write part 2 in response to whatever the person has written. So it deepens the history and it enlarges the motivation, the vision of the essence of writing, which is to carry over intelligence, information from one generation to the other. So it's okay if someone has a contrary opinion about what I've written. In fact, I expect that there will be contrary opinion or there will be other points of view. And also people can also verify by writing also what happened. And because it's memoir, yeah, it may not be 100% correct. It's called memoir. But memory is not, recall is not perfect. So if you understand literature, you know memoir is a subjective reflection of a participant or an interloper in an affair or in a situation. So we see differently, we reflect differently. But I've written with all honesty, fairness, and clear conscience. So I have no fear about rebuttals, about reflections and all that. I'm okay with it.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, with all that you have documented, especially in fame, untold stories of its rise and fall, what would you describe as your biggest or greatest takeaway from fame? In terms of lessons. Let me just put it that way.
I think the most important thing is that any union, any relationship, any partnership, however friendly, however close you are, however yummy, or however into each other you are, you must have a documented, notarized, and legal paperwork to explain, identify, and and describe your roles, your relationship, your contributions, everything as much as you can. You must write it down. Not because you don't trust each other, not because you don't you suspect one another, not because you are afraid something may happen in life. No, you just do it just commonsensical. You write things down, notarize it, sign it, let it be a codicil of actions, decisions, visions, all kinds of things. Identify, extrapolate in 5 years' time, maybe this will happen, write them down. In that 5 years, when elapses, nothing has changed, write a different document. Begin to write these things down. And that's what I take away from, because we were so naive that we didn't write anything down. And therefore, we kept on doing hands-on kind of a thing. We changed according to time, which was why it was a topsy-turvy situation for almost all that 6 years.
All right. How about encomium? What would you describe as your greatest takeaway in terms of lessons and stuff?
Okay, that means we are jumping ahead. That one has to wait for when its book comes out. So, that was a different kettle of it. So we have to also have patience. I won't wait for Islam 70 before I write that. Don't worry. So that's a different class, because that's another how many years? That's 97 to 2001 for me. So that's like about 4 years. And great things also happened there. Lessons to learn also there, which I hope to also document. And hopefully it will not be too long. So I can't give you a scoop on that.
All right. So what is your relationship right now with your former two partners? That's talking about Mr. Mayor Akinkwelu and Mr. Kunle Bakare.
Okay, I think it's cordial. If you notice, Mayor still yapped me on Facebook for trying to do what is it called? Online party, online virtual party that I was an Ijebu man and all that. That's Mayor for you. Kule is the quiet one. He just sent me a short WhatsApp message to congratulate me in response to my invitation of him. Usually, even if you don't, he's usually a very quiet person, and we're not Korikosun as we used to be 20 years ago or 25 years ago, but we are not public enemy number one. We are not. We don't see on the road and start eyeing each other or fighting or hissing and all that. No, we have a cordial relationship.
Okay. Now, if you were to turn back, the hand of time, like we say in Nigeria, what would you have done differently, at fame? I mean, other than, not having everything properly spelled out and properly documented.
I don't know. I towards the end of the book of Fame, Untold Stories, towards the end of the book, I made my impressions known about what we could have done differently or how I could have approached it. There are many scenarios of things I've done that uh, if it were 15 years after, I wouldn't have done it less draconian or less presumptuous and all that. So there are a lot of things that could have been done differently. Some of which are put in the paper, in the book, and some of which that would make the book sell. So I'm not telling you now, and all that. And I'm quite impressed with the reaction about the book, and I hope a lot of people will take it up for the lessons that you learn from it. There are issues that may sound, are they fighting, are they quarreling? No, those things happened. I even remember I was going through some of the pictures I had to use, and I was trying to locate. I saw Mayor Femi and Femi Kuti and Kunle and one other person. That's a chap called Kaitel.
Yeah, Tunde Kaitel, I remember him.
Okay, so I was wondering what year was this, because we had our thief with maybe around 93, 94, but it was like my twins' naming ceremony, either first year anniversary or the naming ceremony. Either way, one was 95, one was 96, and he came, eating with us and all that stuff. So the spirit was, he's a great guy in that he, he doesn't get bogged down by grudges and all that. He will hit back and move on. And tomorrow, yeah, yummy. If you like greed, don't greed and all that. So there are a lot of things, a lot of interplay of emotions and situations that were very good. If you had sustained it, you know, I remember one of the visionary statements that, which is why I wanted him to be part of the review persons. Emeka Obasi said
Emeka
in
Opara. Okay, Emeka
Emeka
Obasi.
Obasi,
Okay, Obasi. Okay.
Prince Emeka Obasi
Yes,
said
I
in
remember.
1990, I said, FAJ, you have to do this, you have to do this. If you don't
I
do this,
read.
this
I, I,
is
I
so,
read
so,
it.
so.
I saw it in the
Uh,
book.
and it was like a visionary, and it happened the way he said it. But if he had gone back again, I would still have done the same thing because it's not. I'm not a forceful, overly ambitious person. I'm not an ambitious person. So if somebody has done so, you want to say, let him lead or let him take this something. But what I'm most concerned about is my own productivity. If you don't allow me to do my own work, then we could fight. But if it's about who will be in front or who will be at the side, it really doesn't bother me at all. But if I have the tools, if I have the capacity, environment, if I have the opportunity, and then give me have the capacity. Don't abridge it, don't offend it, don't disturb it. Then we are good to go. You know. So that's it for me.
Interesting. You seem to devote more time now to writing books. Is that your major preoccupation now? I mean, in the last you've been so prolific that in the last how many months you've been able to come out with 5 books at a stretch. I mean, starting from reflections, this
Yeah.
one, yes. Is
Yeah.
that
I
your
have.
new? Is that the new area that you want to concentrate more on?
Well, it looks so. If you do 5 in a year, it looks like it's either is a one-off thing or you're on a
Roller
crusade.
coaster.
You know? But I have many ideas of things to write. Uh, um, I have everything I'm doing nowadays appears to be around mentoring people, writing, teaching about writing, helping people to write better, uh, even as a workforce, even in the workforce, even in a non-media environment, you still have to write well, report well, do stuff well. So I have some time in my hand, and I devote it to research and writing. I still write my column every week. I still have many books in different stages um, of travel, so to speak. So if not, I mean, if one, not that one should be circumspect about releasing books. I could be releasing books every 3 months or 4 months and all that. But you need for people to take a breath because Nigeria is great. How many people really love to read or love to buy? We don't know. We don't have. We just have that kind of supposition about this and that. But you see that you are basically around the same circle of people, and you can't leverage will come with all kinds of work. So I hope I have the capacity to do it as an annual thing or a biannual thing. But I will keep on writing. When the times is good, I'll publish. If it is not okay, I will keep it and keep on rolling on. But as it is, I have at least 4 or 5 other works under, as we say, under production and all that. So I also want to be more involved in uh, creative interpretation of my ideas now. I want to do visuals for them. I want to do telemovies or teleseries for them. I want to do. I want to create things. Develop things that you don't have to run helter skelter to do them. It's mostly sit down, share with people, and do some finessing and all that stuff. So you could say that. You could say I'll be more involved going forward. God
Interesting.
willing.
Interesting. Now, talking about your books, where can people get them to buy?
I'm still working on I'm still working on the process of general contact with the books. But what I'm doing now is called special launch price mode. You know, you're one of the first person, if not the first person.
Yes.
What you got is the launch price mode. So I'm now on special launch price mode. You know, because not many people can afford what we have now, and not many people and mostly most people that are getting it now is not because of those books, because they like you or because they know you or because they want to support you. So that's the mode I am in now. When I have exhausted that one, we will move to general mode, which because I get a lot of information from people, they want it, they want this and that, and one writer can deal with many bookshops to cause problems. So I'm working with some agency on how to spread this round. I also let people know that I think I published on my Facebook timeline. It's also on Amazon. All the as paperback, as hardcover, and as a digital format. You know, and I'm also because Amazon is difficult for those who are based in Africa. There is some kind of well, it's not racism, some kind of phobia for Africa readers. I don't know how. So I'm trying to diversify into other online outlets, Smash Books, Kobo, Nights and Noble and Nights, and stuff like that, so that they can access it, especially the digital version. You know, but it's on Amazon. The Niger version, as we call it, should start rolling either end of next month or in the new year.
All right.